Hey everybody, this is Rydo and we are back to Hearthstone. So, we have a considerable still amount of stuff I need to do, but we might be able to get it done. We need to play warrior class cards and do damage to the enemy. So, come over here and just play this enraged deck and we'll just see this work. Moderate amount of news, not a huge amount here. And then we're gonna be kind of done with the live stream recording part. Is if anybody's still on and wants to play me, then we'll certainly do that at the end too. So, Double Fine's Game Jam Amnesia Fortnite winners were announced. The winners were Kiln, a game, which I'm not even going to try to describe these games. They were all very short pitches of games. I don't think that they even really did too much to actually make the game. Unlike other game jams I've seen, it seems like these were more pitches and ideas of games more than even spending 48 hours to program a game and see what you could do. And I'm not sure, but it kind of felt like they were all Double Fine employees making pitches. So this is almost like a public version of Double Fine just telling its employees, if you have an idea for a game, pitch it now. But the winners were Kiln, The Gods Must Be Hungry, Darwin's Dinner, and I have in the game called I Have No Idea What I'm Doing. All decent choices from a very poor selection of pitches, honestly. Like, I can't hate on any of the things they picked. There certainly were worser games, more worse games that were pitched, and there certainly were games that were much more niche that might have been interesting but didn't probably in their pitch phase deserve to win. It's more kind of in the implementation phase, I would say. Something like that should occur. Let's see, can we somehow pull this around and win?
Strike.
And let's
strike.
Do this. Job done. And in the turn. Pokemon Go is still pulling over 65 million active users. I'm not sure how you universally define active users, but if you just take it on the face value, then there's still a decent amount of people playing Pokemon Go, which is not surprising because if you get kids on it, they're going to be into it for at least a year. Like, if you get them a phone that does Pokemon Go and they're interested in doing that, they're going to do it until the next big thing comes out, which is going to probably be around Christmas. Wow. Talk about an amazingly good card to bring to the hand. Mass Effect pirates, people who pirated Mass Effect Andromeda, I guess is the better way of saying that, won't get the updated faces because they also put in a new version of Denuvo that hasn't been cracked yet, which, you know, that's all kind of just a matter of time, and that's all Denuvo, the anti-tamper DRM software. It's more of an anti-tamper software is what they say, and it's true. It's not about digital rights management. There's no digital rights in it, really. But yeah, Denuvo is just there to slow down pirates so people don't get the game within the exact same time frame as people who purchase the game, but it almost always gets cracked, if not running 100% of the time it gets cracked. I guess the only time it probably doesn't get cracked is if some company uses it to make a game that nobody wants to play. Bank of Canada had a website announcing their new $10 bill with the Konami code Easter egg on the website. It barely really news as far as video games there. That doesn't heavily relate to much of anything, but it is certainly something that we can something I can mention because I'm low on news. In fact, we're probably going to wrap up here, even if at the end of this recording, not at the end of this game, but just because I'm going to be out of the news, and so then I'm going to, as far as recordings end and then live stream, I'm just going to play and try to finish any more quests. It is now going to be kind of a new standard that if I run out of news before I run out of quests, then I am going to live stream only and not release the footage in HD of doing the rest of the quests. This may mean when I'm live streaming, it may mean that I just go quiet if there's nobody talking or nobody interested, or I go a lot more quiet, or maybe go completely quiet. Like I have in the past had so much to do as far as daily quests that I sat there for a considerable amount of time just in silence.
It's time for a little blood.
But more recently, somebody has always come on. Somebody has always wanted to do something. It also pushes the live stream longer, though, because if people want to play me, I still need to get the daily quests done, even if I'm not recording and covering the news. So now there's 3 different tiers of things I'm doing. I'm doing pre-recorded episodes and covering the news and trying to get the daily quests done, and then doing live streams to do the daily quests. And then I'm also at the end there trying to play anybody that wants to play me in the same idea. So this is only going to end up costing me more time as far as playing Hearthstone. Moving back onto news, there was a rumor of a new Knights of the Republic KOTOR game being made by BioWare Austin, and it was pretty much definitely denied. Like, it wasn't one of these scenarios where they don't content on innuendo or rumor. They specifically said, yes, we know somebody in BioWare Austin was working on this game, but it hasn't been greenlight or allowed. So that's about as solid a denial as you can make, is to admit, yes, people were toying with this, but we're not going to make it.
Back to work.
Let's do this one instead. We need this. We need this. We need this. And this. In return. So, yeah. I don't know particularly what the most recent Knights of the Republic game is, and with Disney owning Star Wars now, I imagine everything is just on pause until they get some more thoughts. The only company that didn't get put on pause was EA doing Battlefront, and I think that's almost certainly because there's not very much story, if any story, really being said in the Battlefront universe. So let's go ahead and do this and this. So next story, this could slightly affect me, and it's certainly might affect Captain Sparkles, who did a long vlog video about it too. The Pocket Edition and the Windows 10 edition of Minecraft, that's not the Java edition. It gets the newest updates and has all the newest feature, and it's the edition that most people play incessantly, or if you're going to play it. The only people that really are going to play the Pocket Edition or the Win 10 Edition are little kids that for some reason aren't allowed to play the other, the Java Edition, which that would be just a misguided parent, honestly. The Pocket Edition makes sense if you're playing it on a tablet, too. And yeah, I imagine a bunch of little kids would be playing on a tablet more than playing on a PC. But those editions, those lesser editions, are going to start introducing this marketplace and map trading, selling marketplace, so people can make maps and sell them via microtransactions. Which I think, if anything, that if I was a parent in that situation, I'd say, well, you're not playing that version of Minecraft anymore. The last thing I'm going to do is let you play a game where you can do microtransactions that would cost me money. And frankly, that's not the edition you would want. Again, the problem here is it's like the it has all the problems of the Bethesda selling mods thing. There's going to probably be no verification that the mods aren't, the maps that people are selling aren't stolen. There's probably not going to be any quality control. And you have, while we do have a decent level of quality of map makers in Minecraft, they're really not that good. Like, the vast majority of maps that are made are bad and never seen and never spotlighted by people like Captain Sparkles. A lot of them are just find the hidden button, do this dropper map. Similar things like that. It's not amazingly cool things like the Code 1, 2, and 3, which were 3 maps that were really good. So there's a lot of issues there, and it gets down to a weird thing I want to say, where I honestly don't think they should be paid for their work in making maps. I just don't think it's a community that can have that. When you're making a Fallout 4 mod, you're really in some kind of editor. You're really doing something. You're really making programming. And if you were telling me like some of the mods on Feed the Beast were going to become paid, so that would be one thing. But if you're just saying, well, I made this map and it has a house in it, I don't think that's enough for it to be worth anything. And frankly, I don't want it in the Minecraft community. The Minecraft community has been heavily about sharing stuff. Honestly, if there's one guy who makes Minecraft maps, and he came out with a game on Steam called Z Game. I don't know exactly how it's spelled, but it certainly deserves more attention than it got, and I feel like that's his real world effort to learn to make something in Unity should get paid off. And so that game is on for sale, and I would say if you can find it, play it. But even at that, what he created, Z Game, is a pretty simplistic game compared to most video games, and he's kind of the exception, not the rule. In similar ways, there's another person who's working with a team to remake like Zelda Ocarina of Time in Minecraft. Should that be sellable? I don't think Nintendo would be very happy about that. And they're spending a considerable amount of retexturing and mapping everything to look like that. But at the end of the day, it is kind of just blatant copyright infringement. And you can't get around that idea.
They fell off a truck.
And so you're going to have some of that too happen. So I just don't feel like it's inherently, I'm not explaining this well, but I think if you want to make money, you've got to make your own thing. Maybe you start Minecraft as a quick and easy way to draw things instead of using like a 3D world editor, like Blender or Unreal, or yeah, probably Unreal or Unity instead. But you probably should, even in your first prototype, be using either Unity or Unreal, because that's what you're going to need to use at the end to have a finalized product. And you're going to have 99% of the skill at the beginning to make a game before you even start. So if you're just making something in Minecraft and you've never made a program before, and you know like redstone mechanics and command block logic, that's not enough really for you to make anything interesting or good that is worth selling, in my mind. There will be small exceptions, but this microtransaction marketplace idea is solely built around the idea of doing, what am I trying to say here? It's solely built around the idea of selling the cheaper things, that just constructions. I imagine the marketplace will just be full of people who just, I built this house, I want 50 cents for it. I built this house, I want a penny for it. So I would imagine it's all going to be over $1. So here's this dirt house for $1. It's going to be so full of that even if there was good maps, they're not going to float to the top. And so it's just like a failed idea. It's putting microtransactions to the game that really can't afford it, particularly since Minecraft is built around creativity. Now there's 2 levels of creativity that they're saying they're saying that there is going to be creative people who just build for fun, and then there's going to be creative people that are going to be selling their creations for profit, or stealing other people's creations and selling them for profit, which I imagine is going to happen a lot. And as far as I know, as far as this decision by Microsoft is, it's not for mods. It's not like they're selling mods. It's only for builds. Yeah, I could be wrong about that. I could be totally wrong about it because I didn't look into enough of it. But that's not good. It's not a smart move at all. Speaking of probably slightly smarter moves, G2A finally got back to Gearbox, and they're accusing them of defamatory statements and saying that they do everything that Gearbox was asking for already, which is not true at all.
Can I light your fire?
And the one thing, the API to allow people to mark keys as stolen or bought with stolen credit cards, they're definitely not going to do, and they won't change their business in any way. And they make at least an interesting counterclaim in their rebuttal to this. They're saying that the video game publishers don't want a secondary market at all for Steam keys. So this is the GameStop argument. It's like, yes, the video game sellers don't want used games sold, which it's slightly a different scenario there. There's a difference between selling a used game and then selling a stolen key, or a key that was bought with stolen credit cards. It's slightly different thing. But it is also true. Publishers would like to control all sales from the Steam key and for Steam keys, and frankly, Steam is going to accommodate them with that. I think we're going to quickly find out in a year or two that there will be no seller that has a buy now, no publisher that has a buy now button on their website. I bet none of them are going to be handing out Steam keys. I bet all of them are going to say, give us link your Steam account to the app, or click this button and it will just take you directly into the Steam app, Steam website, and purchase the game. Like, I don't think any publishers do want Steam keys being traded or resold. And Steam is working to get rid of that, so that will probably be the end of sites like G2A, or almost completely, because they'll see that their entire collection of Steam keys are going to be older and older and less desirable things. Because none of the new games will have any Steam keys at all. So, I mean, it's a pretty good way to respond there, considering we kind of all knew that G2A wasn't going to do anything. Both sides are being pretty dishonest here. And they didn't wait they waited to respond until the deal was definitely dead, and there was no way that they might work something out. And this will probably go to a lawsuit of some sort that they'll try to, G2A will probably try to file against Gearbox, and maybe Gearbox will, I wouldn't be surprised, the way Gearbox runs its business, I wouldn't be surprised if they actually do end up losing the lawsuit because of some agreement they made in their contract that they might be slightly in breach of. Because they said they could back out at a whim in a contract, and I just don't know if that's exactly going to prove to actually be the case.
Job done.
But remember, also, they gave 30 days for most changes, 60 days for one change, and 90 days for another change. And I don't think GTA, unless it's being run by a lot more people than I suspect, because it very possibly is only being run by one person, maybe 5, 10, 20, maybe 100 people. Unless they've got a team of 30 or 40 programmers, I bet they couldn't have implemented what they wanted anyways. What's interesting is there was a tweet that came out. Randy Pitchford on April 10th claimed that he had just that week learned of G2A, and that it was all the publishers division. It was the publishing division, they're new. So he just squarely lays the blame of the company that he's CEO of on the feet of his publishing division, who apparently he's keeping no interest in and no oversight over, because he didn't even know that they were in negotiations earlier with G2A. And see, it just kind of makes it look worse. This is a terrible response. And it's more evidence that Gearbox is a terrible publisher, and I would never deal with them or have them be the publisher for any game unless years from now they actually get their stuff together. Because right now they don't know what they're doing. They're pretending like they're a publisher, and they're failing miserably at it. Instead of selling Bulletstorm as this missed gem that really never made a profit and wasn't that successful, they've now turned it into this huge controversy that makes themselves look bad. Which, I mean, it's just dumb. Chill out. Just bad PR. Bad public relations. And that's kind of Gearbox in a nutshell, is that they are much better at doing bad public relations than they are doing good public relations. So, two more things to talk about. One of them doesn't really have anything to do with anything. A Marvel artist for Marvel Comics has been fired for hiding pro-Islam propaganda in his art. Honestly, I think that's more just about them not wanting to be controversial and get boycotted, and them wanting to control the conversation and not have an artist go rogue and add elements that they don't know about. Because Miss Marvel is, I believe, an Islamic girl. And so they were more than happy, at least at that time, to have someone who is a Islamic character and have Islamic elements in their thing. I don't think it was playing a significantly huge part to the story, but it certainly probably played a major part. It's just like the Control. That being said, too, they have, I believe Marvel was the people that just said that that their comics weren't selling these days because the fanboys don't want diversity or women in their comics, which is not true. The reason why their comics aren't selling is because Marvel has become more like DC, and they're doing constant crises and reboots, and they're not telling very good stories. And it's easier just to blame the fanboys, like the Ghost in the Shell movie. Blame the fanboys and the non-fanboys all alike. Everybody got to blame except for the makers of the movie. And something happened about that movie that actually, in the end of the day, turned out to be probably the best thing you could expect. Because that movie came out, and even though it was panned by critics and Japanese anime fans alike, the creator or the team has come out and said, we're going to make a new Ghost in the Shell series, which they probably were going to do that anyways. So maybe the millions of dollars spent on the live action Hollywood movie that was spent by somebody else in the end turns out to just be advertising for the next anime, which is certainly going to make the fanboys happy, I would imagine. Let's see. Am I gonna die this turn? Boy, it took a while for that to activate. And then finally, as a new story came out with the YouTube adpocalypse, I don't know why I keep using that stupid term for it, but it works, so I'll stick to it. And then I'm out of news. An entire channel has been kicked off YouTube now for being controversial, which honestly, yeah, channels get kicked off YouTube all the time for being controversial, but this is the signaling of a channel that was there and was allowed to monetize and was allowed to be on YouTube for a long time, and now they've been completely banned, like 100% banned. Not just what we'd seen before, you can't make money on YouTube, but we'll let you put your videos on YouTube. Now they've raised the stakes even more and said you can't even exist here. And that's even scarier. Like, it just gets scarier and scarier, it seems like, every time we do this. 2 damage, we'll not do that, so.
I should meet you.
So, yeah. And so YouTube seems to be freaking out still. I don't think they've stopped freaking out. And it's super two-faced, but it might also just be out of desperation. Because right now, when I see an ad on YouTube, all over every video I've been watching for about the past 3 days, if not an entire week, all the ads have been for an Amazon Prime show about Hugh Hefner Playboy. So there's several things to think about that. Like, first of all, Amazon Prime, clearly a competitor to YouTube. So they're doing an ad for their competitor, and they are showing a show about Hugh Hefner, which certainly Hugh Hefner Playboy I don't think falls under their restrictive guidelines if they were going to apply their own guidelines to themselves. So advertisers can do non-family friendly things, but the channels, the YouTube channels, can't, is what they're saying. That's the message I'm getting here. And that seems incredibly two-faced. Incredibly two-faced. Maybe desperate, though. Maybe they did lose $740 million in ad revenue due to the Wall Street Journal attack on them, basically. So maybe they're taking as much advertising as they can get. I don't know. So we're in a good position here. I'm totally out of news, and I only need to play 8 more mage cards. And so that's easily done in the rest of the live stream alone. So if you're watching live, please stay. Otherwise, as always, this is going to be it for the recordings. As always, I ask you to like, share, subscribe, comment, and watch every second of my videos. If you want a friend or follow me on basically any social media sites, there's a whole bunch of links down below. Thank you for watching. Have a good evening.